Right guys, welcome to my first ever non-football manager video. This is going to be with the England squad getting announced tomorrow morning on Wednesday. I've been thinking about it a while. I've been trying to put together, like probably most of you football fans, trying to put together your own England squad. So I've not been swayed by the news today with who's going and who's not going. The only thing that I have done is I think I've picked everyone who is available. So people like Ox, who would have probably been in my squad. Obviously, he's not up for selection. But this is my choice. These are a couple that people disagree with. I know my mate Dan Fry will be not happy about the very first pick. But just let me know in the comments, guys, what you would have done. It'd be great to hear everyone's opinions. I've been chatting at work with a couple of lads at work today about it and stuff, and we all have different opinions about the way to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my 23 and then I'll show you my starting 11. I'll have a few, I think I'll stick with the formation. I've tried with a couple of formations that I've looked at, and I will stick with half of what Gareth's done with the three at the back, but also it's my favourite. It's my favourite formation, and we're playing sort of like 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. It's my preference in when I've been coaching teams in the past. All right, guys. So here we go. So the first player is Joe Hart. A lot of stick and also a lot of stuff about the goalkeepers. Who to pick, who not to pick. To be honest, I don't think any of the four. Possibly Nick Pope, because he's had a decent season compared to the other three in Hart, Pickford and Butland. But for me, just with the inexperience of the squad, I think Joe Hart, be it he's not going to be my first choice, he probably would actually be my third choice. Having him in the squad as a third choice would probably make sense. I think his attitude and honesty has always been spot on. The third choice isn't probably going to play anyway, so I thought sometimes I wonder what's the point taking three keepers, but I just think he would be a really good addition. If I was picking a squad, I would have him in with me in the squad. He's had a tough season, but so have the other two. My second one is Jordan Pickford. Great with the ball at his feet. He's confident. Noticed he don't mind sort of like shouting at a few of the more experienced players in the Everton squad. This is the only. It's the only position that's a worry, but I don't think it's a worry in terms of I think we've got other deeper problems elsewhere on the pitch. You know, at the end of the day, we've got four really decent, not world class keepers, but decent keepers, and I don't think any of the four, if selected, would have been a worry for me. They're all as good or as bad as each other. So Pickford's in there. I think the next one, the third choice, it would probably be my second choice. Jack Butland. He's not had a great season. He has been unfortunate with injuries in the past when he looks like he's been in good form. But like Stoke, relegated. It'll be interesting to see what he does after the World Cup. Not as good with his feet, and he has been prone to an odd mistake or two this year. But once again, I think he deserves to be in the squad. Right, we move on to the defenders. First one's Chrissy Smalling. Not in Gareth's plans. I don't think he'll even be selected tomorrow, which is a bit of a surprise because he's had a pretty decent season for Man United. He's not great on the ball, but his passing accuracy for the season, something like 87%. For someone who apparently can't pass the ball, is pretty good. He isn't that slow. He leads his team, and one of the sort of like old kind of school defenders, really. I don't think he'd be a starter for me, but for his experience, a little bit older, still got his pace, I would pick him. Next one, Harry Maguire. Now, I can't decide if I'm a fan of Harry Maguire or not. He looks good on the ball. I like a centre-half who's confident and pushes into midfield. I just think if he comes up against a really, maybe not a physical striker, so maybe not like maybe not a Lewandowski, but if he came up like a Messi or someone who was really, really technical, I think he would struggle. I think sometimes he turns like an old tugboat. And in a back three, when you sort of like potentially get stretched, I think he would struggle. When he has played for England, he's not stood out. But based on his form for Manchester United, for Leicester, I think he deserves his place in the squad. Next one, Kyle Walker. Bit of a given. He's had a decent season for Man City. I liked Gareth playing him in the back three. Just gives us a bit more pace, and I think it allows us to play another wide man. Another player who's obviously going to be good on the ball, can move us up the pitch a little bit as well. So yeah, Kyle Walker. Next one, Kieran Trippier. I think last year when he was with Kyle Walker, he was unlucky not to play more than Kyle Walker. He was better out of the two. I think he crosses the ball better. Defensively, good. I think he's improved as the season's gone. I think he's had a really good season. I think Tottenham have played worse when they've put Serge Aurier in the squad. And I think the idea was for Serge Aurier to be number one, but Kieran Trippier's had a really good season and he deserves to be in there. The next one's his Spurs teammate, Danny Rose. Now, he's had a poor season. I think he's only played like 11 Premier League games. However, I'm really not a fan of Ryan Bertrand. Luke Shaw's a million miles off. And I think we always complain about players being burnt out as a season. Well, this guy's fit and he's got no excuses. So hopefully, if we can get him flying down the left, he will definitely be an asset. He's played quite well for England. Maybe not played so well for Spurs, but I think that's got to do with more his personal issues and probably heading to Manchester United in the summer, rather than him being out of form and not putting himself in, applying himself. I think in the World Cup he will be absolutely fine. Next one, John Stones. I suppose a definite in there really. Another one who Gareth will be looking at using, just mainly because he bring the ball out. I do like him. Yeah, he's capable of a couple of mistakes, but so is anyone in any squad. And actually, when he's played for England, he's actually played really well. He has struggled for a bit with injury, but another one, if he gets himself fully fit, as he's not had the game time, another one who's not been burnt out. We keep talking about players being burnt out. Well, for this squad that I've picked, and also the squad that Gareth Southgate will pick tomorrow, we've got no issues with burnt out. It's the opposite, because half of these players haven't played probably the full season, or a lot of them haven't. Next one, Eric Dyer. I am going to be using him in the starting 11 as a centre half, mainly because in the midfield, the way I want to play, I'll go into more detail when the team comes up. I want it to be a bit more fast flowing in the middle. And also when he's played for Spurs, he's played quite good at centre half. We're not blessed with centre halves, and I've put him in. He is, what will he be, 6'4", 6'5", something like that. So he's a big boy. He's good on the ball as well. So hopefully there'll be three centre halves that can play football, but also can defend. I would probably play him in the middle of the three. So that's Eric Dyer. Also back up, he's one of these ones that can play in a couple of positions, like the next player that I'm going to select, Ashley Young. Now, I am a Man United fan, so probably people say I'm a little bit biased, but he has had a quality season. I think his attitude on and off the pitch would probably be a big bonus. Apparently he's an excellent trainer, work ethic. He can play right back, left back, right wing back, left wing back. Can probably play in a 4-4-2. He could play wide on a 4-3-3. He would be probably back up to a Danny Rose, Kieran Trippier, but I think he deserves a place. As I said, I'm not a big fan of Ryan Bertrand. The thing about Ryan Sessegnon, people keep raving about. Yeah, that's fine. Ryan Sessegnon has been playing as a wide left in a 4-3-3, so his defensive duties are probably not as great as what a wing back or even a left back would be. So I've gone for Ashley Young instead of Ryan Sessegnon. I think there's too much hype sometimes. You know, Ryan Sessegnon's still got a lot of learning to do, and he's not as good as the more attacking players we've got in the squad. Next one, midfielder Jack Wilshere. Now apparently he is not getting a call up tomorrow, which I find bizarre. He's fit. he's had a decent season for Arsenal. A lot of the times when Arsenal went through that awful patch before Wenger decided to his decision to leave, Wilshere was probably the best player Arsenal had. Now, he's not been great, but once again, the centre midfield is the main problem, I think, for England. I think in the future, if a couple of players can get some more regular football that I'll bring up, I think we'll be all right. But at the moment, he is the best of what we have. I don't want a Livermore in there alongside a Jordan Henderson or a Dyer in there against Jordan Henderson. We need to have someone who can create a little. To be fair to Jack Wilshere, he does put himself around the football pitch a bit. So I think he deserves his place. I find it weird. I don't know if it's just speculation, but I find it weird that he's not going to be getting a call up tomorrow. He can't make a 23-man squad. I know there's a thing about his fitness, but his fitness record this year has been decent. He's played a lot of games in a row as well, so I find that one a bit odd, that you wouldn't put your faith in just one. You don't need 23 players. Sorry, but you don't. I find it really weird that he won't be. It's not like the last one where we picked him when he was injured. If he's fully fit, then he needs to be on that plane. So I find that an odd one. Next one, Jordan Henderson. Not the biggest fan in the world, but I think the reason why I've put him in, and also probably putting him in ahead of Dyer in a back in the middle and putting Dyer into the back three, is just because he's more athletic. He does cover more of the grass than what Dyer does. He just needs to try and cut out. He needs to kind of remember that he's not a deep lying midfield playmaker. He just needs to be in there to break play up. I think he's got great attitude, great work ethic, great engine. So he just needs to be in there to put himself about, rather than thinking that he needs to be the top creator. Next one, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, big fan. Unfortunate, he got his call up for England, played really well in the friendly, and then he's had a bit of a dodgy spell with a couple of injuries. I was toying with Welling to put him in the starting 11, but I think if with the formation that I'm playing, I don't think I could probably get away with having him in the middle. He's had a bit of he's sort of like played from the left with Palace this year rather than being in a set midfield too. But he's definitely one that Chelsea need to grab hold of, and if Chelsea don't want him, I think most clubs, Spurs, Man United, I think a lot of clubs would. Maybe not Man United, but I'd definitely take him at Man United. Spurs, he'd be a great addition in the middle of the park. Maybe a replacement for Moussa Dembele, who's sort of like knocking 30 plus. Next one's a bit of a surprise to a lot of you. Lewis Cook, he's had a really good end to the season. He's a definite promise for next season, and England going on. Sort of like in the Henderson mould for me, he gets himself about the pitch a lot. Decent on the ball. Just one of these players that I think would benefit from being in the squad. And then once the World Cup's over, if he can keep going with Bournemouth, he would be one that should see himself as an England regular. Along with the next one, which is Harry Winks. I think he made his debut in Lithuania after we qualified, and he had a quality game. And then he got, like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, then got injured. So he's a little bit unfortunate. I've just put him in there as well because if Gareth's wanting to use technical players, and I would do the same, then for him for a midfield, maybe alongside Lewis Cook and Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the future, there's three players there who I think have got a little bit of everything. We've got the power in Loftus-Cheek, we've got the work rate and the attitude to get the ball back with Lewis Cook, and then Harry Winks to get on the ball and dictate play. He's just been unfortunate that he's not been quite able to get back into the Spurs team close to the season, but I think he will get selected tomorrow. Probably I can't see maybe Lewis Cook getting a call. Ruben Loftus-Cheek might, but out of the three, I think Harry Winks is the most likely. And obviously he's one for the future. There's the thing that I'm not adamant on getting experience in. I've left out Gary Cahill because I don't think he's good enough at all. And the squad will be better by putting a Harry Maguire in there instead, to benefit from the World Cup experience. Same with Harry Winks. I could put a John Joe Shelvey in there. I do like John Joe Shelvey, but I just think his time has maybe gone. And Harry Winks in time, Lewis Cook in time, Ruben Loftus-Cheek in time will all be better players than sort of like your Jake Livermores, your John Joe Shelvey. So we need to give him the opportunity. Next one, Jesse Lingard. He's had a really good season for Man United. and also he's done well for England. I do like the way that hopefully we'll play in the World Cup will be fast, not trying to be slow, dominate, play in terms of keeping the ball, but just been, I suppose, a bit like Liverpool and Spurs. When we get the ball, we attack direct and quick. And also he's helping himself to a lot of goals. That's the main thing, not relying on Harry Kane in the World Cup. He'll be, hopefully responsible for getting a few goals. Alongside Dele Alli, and the one who's, for me, I am a big fan of him, and I looked at his stats before this, and he has created, I think, the most chances in the Premier League for stuff. But the way that I would set my team, I don't think it would actually suit Dele Alli. And I think the one issue that Gareth Southgate might have is that he needs to find a spot for him. Now, if he plays a 4-2-3-1, he's fine because he can play him behind Harry Kane, behind the striker. If he plays a 3-4-1-2, he can play him once again behind the two strikers. If he plays a 3-4-3, then that's where he struggles. You don't want him coming off the left. I think that's going to be the only problem, is how to get him into the team. Raheem Sterling, similar to Lingard, probably on a better note, has had a really good season. I just hope he has the confidence. I think his confidence was shattered at the was it the Euros, I think 2 years ago, before Pep took over. But different player in getting the box, getting the back post and getting them tap-ins in. I think he, hopefully, is going to have a really good World Cup. Next one's Harry Kane. Speaks for itself. I just hope they don't make him captain. Take a little bit of the pressure off him. He just needs to get back to scoring goals. They've had a bit of an indifferent time with a stupid goal thing, which I did agree with. If I was a striker and it was my goal, I'd want the bloody goal. So I think there was a lot of stuff made about that has probably pissed him off a little bit. But he's world class for me. If I was Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United, Man City, Bayern Munich, he would get in any side, I think, in the world. For me, hopefully, he can have a good World Cup. Marcus Rashford, striker, also can play off the left or the right. He's had a decent season. I still think his end product is really poor. I think Jose Mourinho's had a lot of shit saying that he's not been picking him, and to be honest, he hasn't been as good as Lingard this year. It definitely isn't a number 9 as yet. He's quite wasteful on the ball, his decision making at times. And there was one instance against Brighton the other week where he just ran into the box and he had 3 opportunities to pass to Martial and just kind of stuck in his thoughts. Now, that's not Jose teaching him not to play football. That's him and down to his confidence and his ability. But I think last 20 minutes, game changes. The thing we didn't have in the Euros was anything to really change, impact. He's had a really good impact coming on for Man United and coming on for England as subs. So he would be definitely an impact player. Probably alongside Vardy. I suppose if Harry Kane got injured, he would come into the team. He's had a decent season. I think he's at like 20 goals. I think he's at 20 goals this season. The only thing I think of, if we play against a team that are sitting back, soaking up, so potentially the group games, maybe not in the latter stages, sort of like the knockout rounds when we play against the bigger nations, but especially against teams like who do we play? Tunisia or someone like that. I can't think who we play. I think he would struggle. I think he would find it hard trying to break teams down. He likes it when, especially how Leicester play, lots of space in behind, counter-attacking. But he deserves, he had a really good season for Leicester and he deserves to be in the squad. Right, the last one, the 23rd man in the squad, Andy Carroll. Now, I know people are going to say, what the fucking hell? But my rationale behind it is that we've got 22 other players in the squad. We need a real difference. There's no point picking a Jermaine Defoe, a Daniel Sturridge, a Danny Welbeck, because they're much of a poorer man's version of Jamie Vardy, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane. We need something different. I just think if there's 10 minutes to go, we need to hold on to a lead. We could maybe throw him on, even if we're more likely if we're obviously chasing a game, get him on. He does cause havoc. I think Premier League teams are used to him probably more than what opposition would be used to him. Now, I'm not asking, I know he's injury prone, I'm not asking him to play 90 minutes, but I think just as an impact, as a ultimate plan B, we went to the last Euros with no real shape, no plan B. If we'd maybe played against Iceland, all it needs is just one ball into the box, and we've got decent crosses of the ball out wide areas. But people who can create chances, get balls in the box. I just think he would be a decent addition to go on the plane, just as a backup. So here's my starting 11. I've gone for a sort of like a 3-4-3. Obviously we're not with 3 out-and-out strikers. It's just how the sort of like the app that I use set it up. So I've gone for Pickford in goal. Best out of bad 3. I just think that he's more likely to turn into an England number 1. He's the youngest. He does like the ball at his feet, and I just think he would probably benefit from being given the number 1 slot more than the other 2. In defence, Kyle Walker, I like him in that position. Gareth Southgates, I think, has done well in putting him there. Eric Dyer is the middle one, and then John Stones on the left. They all can play football. They've all got a little bit of pace in that. Might mean we can squeeze up the park a little bit and sort of like dominate teams territorial and with the ball rather than sort of like sitting back. Right wing back Kieran Trippier, left wing back Danny Rose. I think them two are nailed on. I'm not a fan of Ryan Bertrand at all. He's average. He's very average. I like Danny Rose's pace and his directness. And then on the other side, Kieran Trippier is a little bit more probably on the support mould, but can whip a brilliant ball in from deep, ball out of his feet and knock it in. And obviously both work with Harry Kane in the middle, so they would probably both know his runs pretty well. In the middle, Jordan Henderson and Jack Wilshere. Henderson in there just to break up play and to be aggressive, to be on the front foot, to drive the team forward, and then Jack in there to play with the ball and get the ball into his feet. I think that's the area that we need a lot of work, after the World Cup to try and find a long-term solution, which I think Gareth Southgate will do. He's not scared of making big decisions and putting youngsters in. Up front, probably playing as 2 inside forwards, because obviously we've got the wide men in Trippier and Rose, is Sterling and Lingard. I've left out Dele Alli just because of the shape that I wanted to play. I would like to see England playing really fast, pretty much like Liverpool do. Really fast, aggressive football, getting the ball and running at players. And I think Raheem Sterling and Lingard are way better than Dele Alli. Just think sometimes Dele Alli might just slow the game down a little bit too much. Especially, I don't think you could trust him as being one of the twos. Maybe with Jordan Henderson, but I think Jack Wilshere would probably cover the ground better than what Dele Alli would do. And up front, Harry Kane, the main man, that speaks for itself. I just hope that he's had a couple of injuries. Hopefully he's fully fit. Sometimes the injuries can be a bit of a blessing because they get a bit of a break. So hopefully, if his ankle's recovered, he would be a great addition to the squad. Sorry, not to the squad, just the team. I think the last one, he maybe just burnt out and they had him taking bloody corners and free kicks and everything. He can just concentrate on what he does for Spurs. Hopefully, he could be looking at scoring 4 or 5, 6 goals in the competition. Alright guys, so that is my England squad. Thanks for watching. Please, I might get some abusive comments about some of the players that I've picked, but that's great. Football's the greatest sport in the world because it's more about opinions than anything else. Obviously, we've picking Andy Carroll, Jordan Pickford, Harry Winks, leaving out a couple of players, maybe Gary Cahill, a couple of strikers I've left out. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and please like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.